Every woman hears she's beautiful, but very few ever hear what truly touches her soul. It's not the lipstick, the dress, or the smile. It's what no one else notices that she secretly craves to be seen for. Women crave emotional recognition, not surface validation. When a woman is told she's beautiful, she might smile, she might even blush, but somewhere deep down, she knows that compliment barely scratches the surface of who she truly is. Because beauty, while appreciated, is the easiest thing to see and the hardest thing to feel seen for. Emotional recognition, on the other hand, speaks to her essence, her depth, the invisible layers that make her who she is. It's when someone notices the way she holds her emotions together, the way she still chooses kindness after being hurt, the way she shows up for people who have given her reasons not to. It's being seen for the person she is, not just the person she appears to be. A woman's world is often built around being noticed but not understood. From a young age, she's taught to be pleasing, to smile, to dress well, to make others comfortable. Compliments about her beauty, her style, or her charm are abundant, but very few ever pause to acknowledge the emotional labor she carries every day. No one tells her, "I see how strong you are for holding it all together," or "I notice the way you care even when it hurts." That kind of recognition goes beyond admiration. It touches something sacred inside her. It validates her heart, her humanity, her quiet sacrifices that no one claps for. Surface validation is easy. Anyone can say, "You look amazing," or "You're gorgeous." Those words bounce off the exterior and vanish within seconds. Emotional recognition, though, lingers. It's when someone says, "You have such a calming energy," or "I admire how you stay grounded even when life tests you." Those words reach into her core and make her feel seen in a way that looks never could. They tell her that her emotions, her values, and her inner strength are visible, appreciated, and enough. For many women, that kind of acknowledgement is rare, not because they don't deserve it, but because most people never look beyond the surface long enough to notice. When a woman feels emotionally recognized, she opens up in ways that no flattery could ever achieve. Her guard drops, her confidence deepens. It's not because she needs validation, it's because she finally feels safe being her true self. Emotional recognition communicates that she doesn't have to perform, impress, or hide behind perfection. It tells her that her empathy, her intuition, her thoughtfulness are seen as strengths, not as weaknesses. It's the kind of recognition that builds trust, intimacy, and emotional security. Women crave this because they give it constantly. They are natural nurturers, often pouring understanding, compassion, and emotional energy into others without expecting it back. But deep down, they wish someone would pause long enough to say, "I notice the way you care," or "I see how deeply you feel." Those simple words can mean more than any grand gesture. They tell her she's valued not for what she gives or how she looks, but for the heart behind it all. That is what emotional recognition truly is, being witnessed not just in presence, but in essence. True compliments connect to effort, not perfection. When you praise someone for perfection, you're admiring the result, the polished version that the world sees. But when you compliment effort, you're acknowledging the journey, the struggle, the countless moments that no one else witnessed. For women especially, this distinction carries weight. Society constantly pressures them to appear flawless, to look perfect, act perfect, and achieve everything without breaking a sweat. They are often admired for the outcomes, but rarely for the unseen dedication it took to reach them. Complimenting a woman's effort means you see beyond the surface. You recognize the late nights she pushed through, the days she showed up, even when her heart wasn't in it, the quiet resilience she built over time. You're telling her that her value doesn't lie in being perfect, but in being persistent. Perfection feels distant, almost unreal, something people can idolize but never truly connect with. Effort, on the other hand, is deeply human. It's filled with imperfection, emotion, and growth. When someone says, "You make it look so easy," it might sound flattering, but it subtly dismisses the sweat, struggle, and emotional energy behind the achievement. A true compliment might sound more like, "I can tell how much work you've put into this," or "I admire how you kept going even when it wasn't easy." Those words affirm not the final image, but the real process that built it. They recognize the heart and determination behind what others take for granted. Every woman has a story of effort, silent battles, inner doubts, and moments where she questioned herself but still moved forward. Maybe she's building a career while managing her responsibilities at home. Maybe she's healing from something painful while still showing up for others. Maybe she's chasing a dream no one else believes in. When you compliment her effort, you validate her entire emotional landscape. You remind her that what matters most isn't the flawless outcome, but the courage it took to keep trying when quitting would have been easier. True compliments don't just lift her spirit, they give her permission to embrace imperfection without shame. Perfection-based praise can feel hollow because it attaches her worth to results. It tells her she's valuable when everything looks right, when her flaws are hidden, when her world appears organized. But effort-based compliments do the opposite. They affirm that she is worthy even in the middle of the mess. They highlight that growth, learning, and resilience are beautiful in themselves. A woman who's seen for her effort doesn't have to pretend anymore. She doesn't have to hide her struggle behind a smile. She feels safe to be real because someone finally appreciates the process, not just the product. There is a quiet power in saying, "I'm proud of how far you've come," or "You've handled that with such grace and strength." Those words carry understanding. They carry presence. They remind her that progress matters more than perfection. And in a world obsessed with appearances, recognizing effort is one of the most sincere ways to make someone feel truly valued. Intelligence and perspective deserve admiration because they reveal the essence of how a person experiences and interprets the world. For women, this kind of recognition holds a special meaning. From an early age, many are praised for how they look rather than how they think. Compliments often orbit around beauty, charm, or grace, while their intelligence and perspective are quietly overlooked or underestimated. Yet it's their mind, their ability to analyze, empathize, and create meaning that truly defines who they are. When someone acknowledges a woman's thoughts, her insight, or her way of seeing life, it tells her that she is being valued for something far more enduring than appearance. It's a form of respect that reaches deeper, one that connects with her identity rather than her image. Admiring intelligence is not just about praising academic knowledge or quick thinking. It's about recognizing how she processes emotions, how she understands people, and how she connects patterns others miss. A woman's perspective is shaped by her experiences, her challenges, her heartbreaks, her victories, and her reflections. When someone listens to her ideas, asks for her opinion, and treats her thoughts as meaningful, it validates her inner world. It tells her that her voice matters, that her wisdom has value, and that she brings something unique to every conversation. In a world that often tells women to stay quiet, to be agreeable, to shrink themselves to fit in, admiring their intelligence is an act of liberation. It affirms that her mind deserves space, respect, and attention. There's something profoundly intimate about being admired for your way of thinking. It creates a connection that goes beyond attraction or small talk. When someone says, "I love how you see things," or "your perspective makes me think differently," it opens a space for emotional and intellectual intimacy. It's not about competition or comparison. It's about mutual recognition. Two minds meeting with curiosity and respect. For women, this kind of appreciation feels rare because intelligence is often mistaken for arrogance or independence. Yet, what most people miss is that a woman's intelligence often carries empathy, a capacity to understand without judgment, to see beyond the obvious, and to think with both reason and compassion. True admiration of intelligence also challenges superficial validation. It means noticing her curiosity, her hunger to learn, and her ability to adapt. It means understanding that her opinions come from depth, not impulse. It's recognizing the brilliance behind the way she handles conflict, the logic in her calmness, the clarity in her decisions. These qualities often go unseen because they aren't loud or dramatic. They're quiet strengths, steady and grounded. Complementing that kind of intelligence is like telling her, "I see your mind, not just your presence." It builds a respect that is difficult to fake and impossible to forget. Perspective, too, is a kind of beauty, one that grows with time, reflection, and life experience. When a woman shares how she views the world, she reveals parts of her soul. She shows how she makes sense of chaos, how she turns pain into wisdom, and how she finds meaning in moments others overlook. Admiring that perspective is not just appreciation, it's connection. It's saying, "Your way of seeing life adds value to mine." And that acknowledgement means more than any compliment about looks ever could. Compliments about presence and peace hit deeper than beauty because they speak to the kind of energy a person brings into a room, something that can't be captured by appearance or defined by words. Beauty can draw attention, but presence holds it. A woman's presence is the quiet force that makes others feel seen, safe, and understood without her needing to say much. It's in the calmness of her tone, the softness in her eyes, the patience in her silence. When someone compliments that, they're not admiring what she looks like. They're recognizing how she makes people feel. That kind of acknowledgement touches something deep within her because it validates the essence of who she is, not her surface, not her image, but her energy. Peace is a rare quality, and for many women, it's something they fight to protect every single day. Life tests them constantly through expectations, responsibilities, emotional labor, and the chaos of balancing everything at once. To remain peaceful in such a world is not effortless. It's an act of strength. When someone tells a woman, "You make me feel calm," or "There's something peaceful about you," they are recognizing the strength behind her serenity. They're acknowledging the battles she's fought silently to create that peace. What most people see as gentleness is often the result of years of learning how to stay grounded in the storm. Complementing her peace means you've looked beyond the surface and noticed the discipline, the self-awareness, and the resilience it takes to carry calmness in a world that constantly tries to disturb it. Presence is also about being emotionally available, about showing up fully, not just physically. A woman with a powerful presence listens when others speak, observes when others rush, and gives space for others to breathe. She doesn't dominate attention. She commands it quietly through authenticity. When someone compliments her presence, they're telling her that her energy lingers, that she brings balance to the spaces she enters. For a woman, Hearing this means more than hearing she's beautiful, because beauty is often fleeting and external, while presence is timeless and internal. Beauty can be altered by age or circumstance, but the peace she radiates, that calm confidence, that grounded energy, is something she's cultivated through experience and self-growth. Many women spend their lives being told how attractive they are, yet still feel unseen. That's because beauty is often consumed, not understood. Presence, however, can't be consumed. It must be felt. When you tell a woman her presence brings warmth, or that she has an energy that makes others comfortable, you're not flattering her. You're understanding her. You're seeing the emotional maturity it takes to carry grace in her interactions, to stay kind when it's easier to react, to maintain balance when the world pulls her in every direction. That recognition reaches deeper than admiration because it tells her she's valued for what she gives off, not just what she gives. A compliment about peace is one of the purest forms of appreciation because it recognizes not what she looks like, but the invisible calm she's learned to create and share. Vulnerability deserves respect, not judgment, because it is one of the most honest forms of human strength. It takes immense courage for a woman to reveal her raw emotions in a world that constantly tells her to be strong, to keep it together, and to never let anyone see her cracks. Society glorifies perfection, independence, and emotional control, but what it often overlooks is the quiet bravery it takes to be real, to admit pain, uncertainty, and fear without hiding behind a mask. Vulnerability is not weakness, it is truth. When a woman opens up about what hurts, what scares her, or what she dreams about, she is letting someone see the unguarded parts of her soul. That deserves admiration, not criticism, because in that moment, she's choosing authenticity over performance, connection over protection, and that choice is one of the most powerful acts of emotional honesty there is. Many women grow up being taught that vulnerability will make them appear fragile, emotional, or too much. They learn to suppress their feelings, to smile when they're breaking, to stay silent when they want to cry. But inside, they long for a space where they can simply be, where their tears aren't seen as drama, where their sensitivity isn't mistaken for weakness. When someone meets a woman's vulnerability with respect, when they listen instead of judge, when they hold space instead of offering solutions, something shifts within her. She starts to believe that maybe her emotions are not burdens, but bridges, that being open doesn't push people away, it draws the right ones closer. Respecting vulnerability means understanding that the strength it takes to express pain is far greater than the strength it takes to hide it. It's seeing that behind every confession, every shaky voice, every tear that escapes her eyes, there is an act of trust. When a woman lets someone see her unfiltered emotions, she's giving them something precious, her truth. That truth might be messy, imperfect, or hard to hear, but it's real. To respect vulnerability is to honor that truth, to acknowledge that the human heart is not meant to be flawless, but to feel deeply. Judgment, on the other hand, kills openness. When a woman is judged for her emotions, she retreats. She builds walls. She learns that it's safer to pretend than to be honest. And that kind of emotional isolation becomes a prison she never deserved to live in. What most people fail to see is that vulnerability is often a sign of incredible emotional intelligence. It takes awareness to face one's own pain and courage to share it. It's not about oversharing or seeking pity. It's about being brave enough to be transparent in a world that rewards concealment. When a woman says, "I'm not okay," she's not asking for rescue. She's asking for recognition. She's saying, "See me beyond my strength." Respecting that is one of the deepest forms of love and humanity. It's the acknowledgement that real connection can only exist where there is truth, and truth can only exist where vulnerability is welcomed, not condemned. Women remember words that affirm their worth beyond comparison because those words speak directly to the part of them that is constantly made to question it. From a young age, women are placed in invisible competitions with other women with unrealistic standards, with images that define what they should look like, act like, or achieve. They grow up in a world that subtly teaches them to measure their value against someone else's beauty, success, or acceptance. So when someone speaks words that free her from that comparison, when someone tells her she's enough, not because she's better or prettier or smarter, but simply because she is, it creates a moment that stays with her forever. It's not just a compliment, it's a healing. Because in a society that profits from her insecurity, being told she doesn't have to be anyone but herself is one of the most powerful truths she can hear. These are the words that touch a woman's soul in ways that appearance never could. Words like, you don't have to compete, or you are already enough, remind her that her worth isn't something she earns, it's something she already carries. They lift the weight of constant comparison, that quiet, exhausting pressure to always do more, be more, and look more. When someone speaks to her value beyond comparison, it doesn't inflate her ego. It brings her peace. It gives her permission to exist authentically without pretending or proving. It reminds her that her beauty isn't diminished by another woman's glow, that her achievements don't lose meaning because someone else reached a different milestone. True affirmation isn't about putting her above anyone else. It's about reminding her she never needed to be ranked in the first place. Every woman has moments where she questions her place, whether she's enough in love, in career, in family, or even in her own reflection. The world tells her to be confident, but constantly points out what she lacks. That contradiction leaves her quietly exhausted. But when she hears genuine words that affirm her worth, something softens inside her. She begins to realize she doesn't have to perform for approval, that her kindness, her effort, her heart, all of it is valuable without being compared to anyone else's version of it. Those words, when spoken with sincerity, sink deep because they replace years of doubt with a simple truth. She is worthy just as she is. Women remember these words because they are rare. They are used to hearing compliments tied to conditions. You look beautiful today. You're so much better than others. You're the best at this. Even though those phrases seem positive, they still place her in a hierarchy. But when someone removes comparison and speaks purely to her essence, it feels different. It feels pure. It feels real. When someone says, you have a light that's entirely your own, or you don't need to be like anyone else to be special, those words stay with her. They echo in the back of her mind on days when self-doubt tries to return. Because deep down, she remembers who told her she was enough, not because she was perfect, not because she was exceptional in someone else's eyes, but because she was whole all along.